In today's video, I want to go over something quite interesting that happened in the new Batman Fortnite comic Foundation and why the Foundation's visor is so important to the ongoing storyline. In today's video, I'm going to have a like goal, and today's like goal is 35. So if you haven't yet, smash that like button because it really helps me in the YouTube algorithm and helps promote this video to more people. So thank you guys. Anyway, let's get into the rest of the video. So the Foundation returns to the Fortnite universe from NF1935, which is where the Batman is from and the Batman Who Laughs. But the Batman Who Laughs has also made his raid to the Fortnite Island, and then the Batman Who Laughs and the Foundation get in this epic battle. But in that battle, the Batman Who Laughs manages to crack the Foundation's visor with his visor. So now the Foundation's visor is cracked, and as it then transcribes, the Foundation uses his suit, his visor, to protect him from the effects of the loop. So for those of you who don't know what the loop makes you forget who you are. It takes your memories. You are then muted, you can't talk. That is why no one barely talks in Fortnite. That is why the game resets every 22 minutes. So if you make it to the final storm circle on your own, you escape the loop, which is quite lucky for the Foundation because the damage to his visor would have meant he couldn't resist the powers of the loop, meaning the next game he'd be muted, he won't remember who he is, and then he won't be able to find Jonesy. But luckily, he managed to make it to the final storm circle, thus escaping the loop and remembering who he is, and he then goes off and hunt for Jonesy. So it turns out that the Foundation is protected from the loop because of his suit and his visor. It sort of somehow protects him from forgetting who he is and keeping himself not muted. So, the Seven are obviously able to do this all together, aren't they? Well, not according to the scientists or the visitors tapes as they're known as, back in season 10.
When I hear this again, will it help me remember? Or once looped, will I be just as muted as the others? No matter, it seems the lengthy precautions worked. The theorem was a success.
So, is the theorem one of the reasons that the Seven are unaffected by the effects of the loop? Now, during Season X, the scientists and the Seven worked together to create this theorem to prevent them from forgetting their memories and trying to accomplish the end event. And then I think, mrjayowhy, you are onto a winner here. But then I think about how did the Visitor get around in Season 4 without feeling the effects of the loop? Because in that point, the scientists would have not created the theorem to incorporate in their suits, so when they're in the loop, they are unaffected by it. So yeah, the scientist seems very concerned that the moment he enters the loop, that he will be just as muted as the others. But if he's been there before, he will 100% know that he's created a suit that stops him from fearing that effects. But obviously at this point in the storyline, that didn't happen yet. So just a thought here, isn't that why the scientist is called a scientist? Because it was him that created the theorem to protect the rest of the Seven? And the Visitor is called a visitor because he was the first one out the Seven to visit us. And I guess the Foundation may be called the Foundation because it's his character that have really extended that story and began to build it up, because we didn't really know anything about the Seven until the Foundation. It was all guesswork. He's really taken that story to the next level. So I guess from that you could probably guess the rest of the Seven if you could sort of guess how the storyline's going to play out. And then you have paradigm, which means a typical example of a pattern. And there's kind of a pattern emerging here, to be fair. So yeah, I mean, we have the Singularity, who is always thought of being a possible member of Seven. Now, there's a lot of meaning to the word singularity depending on what context you have it in, so that's a hard one to pick. But I have theorized in a couple of videos ago, probably a bit longer than that now, about the Prisoner possibly being a member of the Seven. I guess the Prisoner would show us that we as loopers are prisoners in this loop. It resets every 22 minutes, we forget who we are. We are literally prisoners in this reality. But then he does say something else in the tape after he says the initial thing, which still sort of connects to the theorem he's talking about.
You arrived outside the loop at the exact moment of expansion. This effectively paused the singularity. giving us time to create the devices.
So is this the theorem he speaks of? So I'm not quite sure what happened, but the 7 somehow got us all outside the loop at the moment of expansion. The expansion, I believe, was the singularity, which was the 0 point exploding at the start of season 10. In a trailer you see Jonesy about to run away, and then he's like, oh no, but then he's in this like purple sort of tunnel. That is outside the loop, so at that moment we all escape the loop and then we get thrown back in, which pauses the singularity, and the 0 point was frozen for the rest of the season until the 7 was ready to get us, try and break us outside the loop, which they failed. So are the 7 actually working together? So the Visor crashed land and he sort of knew what he was doing. He went to the villain's lair, he created the rocket ship from that film set, he then took off, he then rifted, and we didn't see the Visitor again until season X. And the scientists, for some reason, didn't quite get affected by the loop at first, and then he's panicking about being affected, and then by the end of the tapes, he's then like, now find myself looped. So I presume if you don't hear any messages after this, I'm looped, I'm gone, okay? It's a GG's for me. Donald Moss keep mentioning to us that this story is connected, and I believe it is, but we are missing a massive element of the 7. Because at the moment, like looking at this, like are they talking to each other? Are they exchanging notes at the end of the day? Like, oh, here's the theorem to remember who you are. Built that into your suits, and you should be fine. So it seems like the Visitor knew that, but the scientists had no idea, and the Foundation's like, hey, look at me, I'm grand. It's like, I don't know. And this is just a massive oversight. Unless each member of the 7 has to sort of find this out individually as their sort of solo story and their solo journey in the Fortnite storyline, unless it does have something to do with time travel. Now, I have mentioned time travel a few times in my theories, but this would actually make sense as to why they've only met up one time in the Fortnite storyline, and that was at the end. They had no other choice than to meet up at that point. It's like they don't want to do it unless they really have to, and the only reason why it would make sort of danger if time travel was an element, because if they met up any other time, it would destroy all realities if each member of the 7 met up, and it kind of did. The world sort of ended. It was only the fact that we got sucked into a black hole and the map reorganised that we were saved. So maybe there is something involved as to why the 7 only meet up when the world is literally about to end. So the conclusion here is that the theorem is what the 7 use in their suits so they don't forget who they are and they stay unaffected from the loop. Or it's how the 7 got everyone outside the loop at the moment of expansion before the 0 point exploded, which paused the singularity, which paused the 0 point, so they had time to try and save us before the end, which didn't work. But guys, I do hope you find these videos interesting. I do try and gather as much sort of factual information I can, obviously connecting it with some theories, as these videos are mostly theory based. These are not factual, these are not completely correct. Most of these are what I believe and what I've interpreted it. So guys, if you pick up on anything or know anything I've missed in this video, let me know down below, because it helps me out and it helps out the rest of the community to try and find out what's going on. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's been your boy, mrjayowhy. Till next time, bye bye.